Hey, what's going on? Today I want to talk to you about the Kamala Harris interview and just some takeaways. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm going to keep it short. But I think it's interesting that if you look at the news media, whether you look at right, left, independent, wherever you get your news, it's so crazy how on the right they're like, she bombed, she did terrible, it was, terrible for her campaign. I don't know if she can recover. And on the left, it was like she nailed it. He was so hostile and she handled Brett Baer perfectly, just polar opposites. And that's the way it seems like our political, you know, system and ideologies are right now. Just polar opposites. That's not to say there aren't people that, are pretty centrist or in the middle. But I mean, it seems like if one says black, the other says white. If one says stop, the other says go. It is really, really ridiculous. But so depending where you get your news, you probably have a different idea of how the interview went. If you get your news from CNN or MSNBC, you'll think that Brett Baer was just completely nasty to her and she handles him with grace. If you get your news from America One Network or whatever, OAN or whatever that is, or Fox News, you're like, Kamala Harris totally sunk her campaign. So I didn't watch it live, but I did go back and watch it, and I didn't feel like she totally bombed, to be honest with you. I feel like she did her typical word salad, you know, discussion and answer. Like, for example, the first question was about illegal immigration. It was like, how many illegal immigrants do you think the Biden Harris administration has released into the country over the past 3.5 years? And her answer right off the bat was something like, well, I'm glad that you brought up immigration because immigration is a topic that's important to the American people. And the American people need to know and deserve to know what's going on with our immigration bill and our immigration and what we're doing when we try to pass a bill. And Brett Baer is just like, just a number, 3 million, 6 million. And so right off the bat, she started with the word salad hoopla. And that's to me, I just don't respect that. We believe it's 3 to 6 million. We're not happy with that number. I have a plan to go ahead and tighten up our border security. Like, answer it and own it. But so I think that turns people off. And the reason, for me personally, I'm all for legal immigration, but illegal immigration, I'm totally against that. And the biggest driving factor for that for me is that I have an uncle, my uncle Angelo from Sicily, and I remember when I was a kid and he was, going through the process to become an American citizen. It was a big deal. Like, I remember him studying for the civics test. I remember when he passed the test and swore in, we had like pizza party, and it was just a big deal. And he wanted to be an American citizen. And that's the difference, I think, now is that these people have no interest in assimilating and integrating into the American culture and the American society, which does exist. Contrary to popular belief, there is an American culture. Um, they just want to come here to get free money and free things, and they don't care if they're a burden to the tax system or to the citizens of the country, as opposed to people that wait years and years, pay thousands of dollars to become American citizens because they want to be American citizens. That's my biggest bone of contention, is to watch people like my uncle did go through the process, do it right, and then have millions and millions of people basically just hop the fence and then get amnesty or just turned into citizens, or even while they're not even citizens, receiving luxury hotels or debit cards with $15 to $3,000, free medical, free education, just a burden on our tax dollars and our economic health in this country. So got a little bit off topic there, but I mean, that was basically the first question. Was just the answer was absolutely ridiculous. and she did that quite a bit. And then for people to say that like the gotcha questions, I don't think that Brett Baer did that. If any question was a gotcha question, it was the one about Joe Biden's mental faculties. Because, he said, you think that Trump is unfit to serve. He's not mentally fit or something like that. And I don't remember the exact words, but she's like, yeah, he's insane. He can't, he shouldn't be allowed to serve. He's unhinged. You'll recognize the question if you watch it. So then Brett Baer turns around and says, "When did you notice that Joe Biden's mental faculties have declined?" Which they have. I mean, and again, that wasn't even really a gotcha, but he did set her up for that one with bringing up, you think that Donald Trump is not fit to serve, and then swinging it back around to, when did you notice that Joe Biden was no longer, fit to serve? Uh, but aside from that, I didn't believe that there was a lot of got you questions. I don't think that Brett Baer was rude. I don't think that he was snide. He tried to get, in there when she was just barraging him with words, like, the American people that live in America deserve to know what's going on in the government. And when I'm the leader of the government for the American people in America, and he would try and get in there and just be like, come on, like, you're just eating my time. Because the other thing that, came out was that they were supposed to be at 5. And even before they showed up, they started saying, it was supposed to be 25 to 30 minutes. They were cutting it down to 20 minutes, and then they didn't even show up till 5:15, and they needed it turned around to be aired by 6 p.m. And it was just, so when you have specific questions that you want to ask a candidate that you think are important for the American people to hear, and you can't get them out because somebody's just basically filibustering, saying nonsense. And a lot of it, that's what it was just nonsense coming out of her mouth. I could see how he could be irritated and, and trying to get in there and say, look, I gotta, I want to ask you these questions. But I don't think in any way was he rude or nasty. I mean, if you go back and look at some of the Trump interviews, the way that they talk to him is so disrespectful and just nasty and true gotcha questions. It was nothing like that for her. So for the left to be like, oh, he was so rude, blah, 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 it's like, yo, you need to take a step back and watch a few Trump interviews. And I get it, you don't like Trump, but still the disrespect, the way that the tone in the questions, come on now. Come on. You need to open your eyes and be a little more reasonable about what you're watching. But I just never saw somebody say so many words without saying anything. And that's what she did. Were there points where she was on point and made some, okay, all right, I see what you're saying? Yeah, absolutely. But for the most part, I think it was word salads, eating up the time so the interview would end. It did get a little contentious at times, but that was just because, like, look, I asked you this and you're talking about this, or can I just get a number? But I don't think that she bombed. I think she could have done better. So I don't necessarily agree with the right that is like, oh, it was the worst thing for her. I don't, because on the flip side of that, there's people on the left that think she did fantastic. So I'm going to land right in the middle. I think she did okay. And for her to go on to Fox News, kudos. Good for you. Everybody knows they're the right-wing faction when it comes to news, as opposed to the MSNBCs and CBS and, actually almost every other one. But she did it, and she could have done better. She needs to learn how to just answer the damn question. But she's a politician. So that's my take on that. There was something else I wanted to bring up about it. I can't remember it now, but if I do, I'll do another video. So that's it. Let me know what you think about Kamala's performance in the Brett Baer Fox News interview. You can agree with me You can disagree with me. You can watch it and do some research. You can do no research. You can leave a nice comment. You can leave a nasty comment. I don't care. I watched it. This is my opinion. I'm telling you what it is. Go ahead and watch it for yourself. Or if you already have, let me know what you think. That's about it today. I'll talk to you later.